Hi, everybody. First thing, I want you guys, if you have ankle weights, to put those on now. I would prefer if the first exercise was done just with ankle weights as opposed to a band. If you do not have ankle weights, you can just use body weight. If you find that it's really just not enough resistance for you, then you can add a band. But the first thing, either up on your hands or fists or down on your forearms. We're going to be doing hip extensions. The first one, I want you to point and I want you to squeeze and then lower. And then we're going to switch to the other leg. And then on the third minute, it's going to be, you're going to bring your knee in so that it is matching the other knee. And then you'll squeeze. Bring it back in and squeeze. The most important thing with this is that you are using your glutes. So you need to squeeze at the top. Like your butt needs to be hard. You don't want this to just be up and down. The biggest thing I would say, because we're starting with this, if you are not using your glutes and you are using your lower back, you're really fucking yourself for the rest of the workout. So I want you guys to think about that, because if your lower back is like, oh, it's like sore, everything we do after that, that's going to immediately kick in before your glutes. So I want you to just think smaller movements, feel it, and then bring it down, because it's going to be 4 minutes of this. So first it's going to be the point, straight up, and then we'll switch legs. Everybody good? All right, I'll have you guys get into position and go. Just ignore my annoying timer. Another thing to think about, when you bring your toe down, make sure that your toe is coming down, because that way you know that you're not rotating your hip. Honestly. You have 10 more seconds. And switch legs. Remember, you can go down on your forearms if that's more comfortable for you. Where's my cursor? Have about 10 seconds, and then we're going to switch to the bend and extend. So you're going to switch to the other leg and squeeze. Bring that knee in, squeeze. Good, make sure you're not swinging it too much, that it's still controlled. You have 10 seconds and then we're switching to the other leg. Good, switch. Push through your shoulder blades a little bit. Make sure that you're not sinking your back so that you're pushing up towards the sky, like you're pushing away from the earth. You have 20 seconds, then we're gonna get a break and move on to something else. So I built in like a solid 1 minute break between things so that your butt can relax and that it is at full strength when you go on to the next thing. Good, I'm gonna have everybody grab a band if you have it, a thicker band. You're gonna put it above your knees. So the next two exercises, the first minute, you're gonna be sitting and pushing out against the band. You are not trying to go really, really wide. You want it to be controlled. The second exercise, your feet are gonna be on top of something. You're gonna bring your hips up and you're going to come down and push your knees apart and then squeeze up at the top. So push out, squeeze, out, squeeze. So we are starting in 9 seconds. So it is your choice whether you want to lay back, if you want to sit up, just try to keep your feet flat. And go. Make sure that one leg isn't doing the majority of the work. You have 20 more seconds. Jenny, you have such a nice view. All right, everybody, feet up. Right into it. So you're gonna squeeze out and then up. So push your knees against the band on the way down and then squeeze your glutes up. Make sure you're pushing through your heels, not your toes. You have 5 seconds. Good, you can take your bands off. For the next exercise, if you have a band, I want you to grab that now. Whether you have a loop or whether you have one of the therabands, but I'm going to have you step on it. If you need more resistance, you can cross it, but I want you to kickstand. From here, you're going to send your butt back, putting the weight in your heel, and then I want you to squeeze up. I don't want you to lock it out at the top. I want you to keep as much tension as possible in your hamstrings and your glutes. So sit it back and squeeze. Nice and slow, and then we will switch to the other leg. So starting in 5 seconds. Don't worry so much about the tension on the way down. You just want to get that pause, dig your heel in, and squeeze it up, keeping that tension right here. Have about 15 seconds, and then I'm going to have you switch. All right, switch legs. And you can go right into it. Good, so make sure that you are not standing all the way up. Ashley, if you can you put a little more resistance on the band and keep your arms a little bit straighter? It's just gonna put a little bit less pressure in your lower back. Good. You have 25 more seconds. And remember, the goal for today, we are working your glutes. So your quads and your hamstrings, they're gonna wanna jump in, and they will. But that's why keeping the movements small and making sure that you really feel it in your glutes is the most important. Otherwise, they might get lost in the mix. All right, so you guys can put those down. For the next exercise, you don't need anything. We're gonna be doing the lateral lunge, but there's gonna be a little bit of a push off. So with this, I'm going to lean, push, 1, 2, 3, bring it in without putting it down on the ground, and then back out. 1, 2, 3. So we will do 1 minute on each leg. So it's just a little bit of a push each time. And with this, make sure that you are pushing through your heel. So from the side, 1, 2, 3, and then back into it. So we're gonna start in about 5 seconds. It's gonna be 1 minute on each leg. And go. If you want to reach your arms out in front, sometimes that's helpful for your body to know where it's going. You have about 25 seconds left. Good, so make sure you're not really stopping too much at the top. 3 pulses, bring it up and then back out. And switch legs. Good, so Georgette, make sure you're not bringing your leg all the way in. So here, kind of pop it up a little bit, back down. Those 3 times, then back in. Good, I'm gonna have you guys go back to your mats. Your ankle weights are still on. If you want to use a band, you may in addition to the ankle weights, but you do not have to. You are going back down and you are going to bring it here so it's touch, squeeze up, touch, squeeze up. Then what I'm gonna have you do is 30 seconds in, you're going to switch to the bend and extend, and then we will switch to the other leg. So you guys have about 20 seconds. If there's any questions for me. And go. Good, now you're bringing your knee in and then squeeze and extend. Five more seconds here, then switching to the other leg. So point it back and straight up. And switch, bring it in and extend. About 10 seconds left. Good, you have 1 minute here to rest, grab some water. I need you to grab your band. You're gonna be sitting with the band above your knees, pushing your knees out. Then feet are on top, and we're doing the thrust where you're gonna drive your knees out on the way down. So you have about 25 seconds with this, you can lean back, you can sit up. I want you to kind of play around with how close your feet are to your butt. See if maybe moving them or leaning a certain way, you feel it any differently. So feet flat, you're pushing out and go. Good, so really trying to keep your feet flat on the floor. About 5 seconds, and I'm gonna have you put your feet up on top. Make sure you are pushing through your heels. Good, feet up. So really driving your knees out and squeeze as you come up. So down and out, squeeze it up. Have 30 seconds here. Good, bands coming off. You are going to need your loop or your theraband. If you do not have that, you can use dumbbells, but the purpose of this is tension. So the kickstand, letting it come down and squeezing up. If you want, you can turn this knee out slightly and see if you feel this more in this standing glute leg. Here and up, or turn it this way. It's completely up to you, but we're gonna do 1 minute on each leg. So starting in 10 seconds. Sending your butt back and squeeze. Good. You look really good. You have 10 seconds. I'm gonna have you go ahead and switch legs and go right into it. If you're feeling this too much in your lower back, I want you to not go quite as deep. And I want you to make sure that you're sending your butt back and that your back heel is up and not flat on the ground. You have 20 seconds left. All right, you're resting for a minute. Then we're gonna do the lateral lunge pulses. If you want to put a band around your knees, you may. I would recommend, if you are going to do that, that it be a band of lighter resistance so you can actually get some depth into that lateral lunge. But the same thing as before. Sit, 1, and these are tiny. 2, 3, back into it. So you have 20 seconds before we start. And go. Good, you want this to be nice and controlled. Make sure you're pushing off of that foot that is going out. So, little push, little push, little push. And I'm gonna have you switch sides. You have 25 seconds. So Dirks, take a step and then push just a little bit on that side. Good, you have 1 minute of rest. We are going back to the top. I would like you to have a band on as well as the ankle weights if that is available to you in terms of equipment, in terms of however you're feeling, but we're gonna be doing the quadruped extension. So on all fours. You will squeeze up. And when I tell you to switch, your knee will come in and here. Make sure you're not crunching it, because what happens is you end up using your lower back. You want this to be as stable as possible. At the end of it, your butt should be like a hard coconut. Goals. So starting in 5 seconds, your one foot is pointed back. You're going to be squeezing it straight up and go. And bring your knee in and now extend. You have 10 more seconds, then we are switching sides. Good, so straight back and squeeze up. Good, take your time, control this movement. And bring your knee in and extend. These look really good. Good, I want you to sit up with your band on. And right into it, just pushing out. Ten more seconds here. Good, you can rest. If you need to switch to a heavier band for the next set, I'm gonna have you do that. You have a minute here, keeping your feet flat on the ground, either leaning back, sitting up, whatever is comfortable for you. And go. You have 40 seconds. Don't worry about the speed. You have 15 seconds and your feet are going on top. Good, feet up top. Bring your hips up. And I really want you to make sure that you're driving your knees out as hard as you can and then squeeze up. So they're really out at the bottom and then squeeze up. You can even add a pulse at the bottom, pulse, pulse, and up. I like my arms straight up or like digging my, what are these, elbows in the ground. You have 15 seconds. Good, I want you to go up to the top of the thrust. And I want you to push out. So bring it up and just out, out. 20 more seconds here. 10 seconds. And you can come down. So those bands off. We are going to the kickstand single leg deadlift. Starting in 5 seconds. So sliding back, feel this in your heel and squeeze. Keep it nice and small. "15 seconds and you are switching legs. Good, switch legs. Slide it back, squeeze. "40 more seconds here. "15 seconds. Good, I want you to step on your band with both feet. Stand up, step, step. Keep a little bit of a soft knee. Make sure that your foot is flat and you're not dragging the second one. You don't need to bring them all the way together, just step, step. 5 more seconds here. Good, you can put that down. We are going to the lateral pulses. If you want to wear a band, you may. So sit, push, 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 back down, push, push, push. Good. Keep your arms in front of you, either like this or out here. I just don't want them on your hips. You have 15 seconds, then we are switching sides. Good. I'm going to have you switch. Push, push, push. Good. Feel free to slightly bend the other leg. I don't want you to inhibit the depth because this leg is staying really straight. You can keep that so it's just like nice and relaxed. You have 15 seconds. Good. I want everyone, for the last thing, I would like you to have a dumbbell or a kettlebell, something that's the heaviest that you have. And I want you to put a band on. And you are going to be laying down on the ground, doing either a frog pump, which is the bottoms of your feet together, or you can have them side by side and then just driving your knees apart. And I'm going to be having you do for 1 minute, you are going to be doing glute bridges or frog pumps. So with this, make sure that you're keeping it in your butt. We will start in 15 seconds. Laying back. Feet together, knees apart, or you can have the soles of your feet touching. And go. Think when you come up, you want that weight coming towards your face. "25 seconds. Pumping it out. "5 seconds. And you ladies are done. Thank you. That was awesome.